Welcome, everybody. It is Sideline Sports time. I got Jay again. I got JB. Gentlemen, welcome. Before the show started, I told these two gentlemen that I needed to take care of the intro, and I asked them very nicely. I said, guys, just trust me. Whatever happens, happens. I'm taking the reins on this one because there is a giant elephant in the room, and Jay, you're wearing a Houston Astros hat. The New York Yankees lost in 4 games, and this is time because I didn't do it last year. I don't recall doing it. I went back, looked at the tape. I don't believe I made a rant last year about the Yankees after they lost in playoffs, and last year was pretty bad as well, losing to the Red Sox in the that wild card game. Guys, it's time for me to rant about the Yankees because this was a team that should have won more than the amount of games they did. They should have broken 100. They didn't. They slumped horribly after the All-Star game. That was a problem. And more importantly, there were a lot of holes on this team. And you know how many were fixed? Not one. So it's time that I'm going to rant, and I'm going to say what needs to be said. So, gentlemen, I'll let you speak in a few minutes, but I want to get through this. So there are a lot of changes that need to do with the New York Yankees. And the number one thing – actually, there's two things that need to happen, and now. Aaron Boone, gone. I don't care what you want to say. I don't care that he's brought us to the playoffs every year since 2017. I do not care because there is a simple thing. The New York Yankees have more championships than any professional baseball team by a lot. There is a gold standard to this team. The New York Yankees haven't appeared in a World Series, let alone won the World Series since 2009. The Yankees have made the playoffs the last few years under Aaron Boone, and while that's all well and good, it is unacceptable that they have not reached the pinnacle, the World Series. I don't even care about winning it. At this point, they haven't even made it to the World Series under Aaron Boone. That's absolutely unacceptable with the roster he has. With the amount of talent this man has, there is absolutely no reason he shouldn't be there. That's number one. Number two, he's not the only person that needs to be fired. Number two is Brian Cashman. I don't care what he's done for us. I don't care that he helped us get a World Series in 2009. I don't care that he has been a great GM for many years. Again, just like Aaron Boone, the bottom line is simple. Get to the World Series or bust. It is simple. There is nothing else to it. It is completely unacceptable that this team is yet again lost, and it is absolutely disgusting to watch. And if the Yankees
You're out of order.
I don't want to hear it. I don't care what I got to say, and you can talk after, good sir. I told you what was going to happen. I had to let this roll.
No, what you had to do was listen to the
Hold on.
Way back when?
No. JB, there is more people that need to be fired. Back
when Shrek was on his way to 62, because if you paid Aaron Judge,
just you wait.
Shrek.
Because again, the message that is going to be sent to fans, which is why these two men need to be fired immediately. If you bring them back next year, what that says to the organization and to the fans is that it is completely acceptable to lose in the ALCS and not win a World Series, which is the end goal. And more importantly, what is absolutely disgusting that both Brian Cashman and Aaron Boone, and specifically Aaron Boone, who brought it to the media's attention and signed off on this, was the fact that somebody thought it was a good idea to show what the Red Sox did to the Yankees many years ago. I believe it was 2003, when we had a 3-0 series lead. It was the only team in playoff history to blow a 3-0 series lead. And guess what? They said, guys, we're going to use that playoff loss, one of the worst moments in Yankee playoff history, as motivation for you guys. I don't know who thought that was a good idea. I don't know if Cashman signed off on it. I am sure Boone had to have signed off on that one.
Well,
and he talked about it in the media. The fact that you think it is acceptable to show that to your team is just maddening.
Slow your roll.
Hold on.
Boone couldn't manage his paycheck.
And that's
fine. Why would you throw Cortez out there that he's got a hamstring and a groin injury when you're up? You finally got a 3-run lead.
You're speaking to the choir.
When
you really
have a little momentum. Let's give it right back because it's an elimination game. You don't do that in game one of a series. Why would you do it in elimination?
You don't have to tell me. I am again.
The worst.
There's so many mistakes. It is disgusting. But I'm not done there because there's more men that need to be fired. Those are the two front office men that need to be fired. But there are also players on the field that I swear on my life, if they are Yankees next year, I will be more disgusted than I've ever with this team. Two men in particular that absolutely must not be Yankees next year, and I got the stats to back it up. Okay, number one is Josh Donaldson. Okay, Josh Donaldson was a terrible third baseman. I don't, and not just defensively. Defensively, he was okay, but offensively, he was absolutely putrid. He could not have been worse. Okay, in major categories, let's start about errors by third base. He was behind Rafael Devers. He was second with 12 errors on the season. But that's not the worst of it. Okay, it gets worse. Let's talk about his offensive stats, because his defense, while I'm not happy about it, it could be worse. As a third baseman, he wasn't actually the worst third baseman. On defense, he ranked okay. He ranked near the top 5, so I'm not upset about that. But the 12 errors, don't love it. But let's talk about the offense, because this is why I really don't want him as a Yankee next year. And this is why. Okay, it's very simple. Let me give you his slash line. First of all, in all qualified batters, he ranked 117th. He was awful. Okay, his batting average was a putrid 222. That is unacceptable. Okay, but let's just say averages are down. Let's move past that. Okay, so his average among third basemen, I want to specify it, right? Averages are down, but averages among third basemen alone, he ranked behind his own teammate DJ LeMahieu. Okay, DJ was a qualified third baseman. He had a 261. Now I know he was hurt, but my point being, he could easily play third base a heck of a lot better. His defense will be just as good, and offensively, Josh Donaldson was 18th out of 20 qualified third basemen at a 222 average. Okay, his on-base plus slugging, his OPS, was second to last. He was 19th out of 20th for all qualified third basemen. Okay, when you talk about his hits, it's the same kind of garbage. 18th out of 25. His strikeouts, they were near the top. He was number 6 in all strikeouts by third baseman. He was awful. And if that wasn't bad enough, his on-base his on-base percentage was a putrid 308, which is 18th out of 20 qualified third basemen. He did nothing on offense. Oh. But he's not even the worst, gentlemen. There is a worse player, that Aaron Boone, and this is another reason he needs to be fired, and now.
Don't think Torres.
Isaiah Kiner-Falefa is one of the worst shortstops I have ever seen in my life. He was awful. He was absolutely one of the worst shortstops in all the league statistically. Okay? Okay, JB.
Go off.
Errors by a shortstop. He ranked 7th with 15. So it's not the worst, but it's still not good. But it's going to get worse. Are you ready? His outs above average, he was -2, which means he cost the Yankees runs at shortstop, and he ranked 25th. That is awful. Okay? Oh. And then when you talk offense, okay, his offense was not much better. He had a 261 batting average, which is better, but still not great. At 60th amongst qualified batters. But then when we compare him to just his shortstop, okay, his OPS was 19th out of 20. Terrible. Okay, his average was his only saving grace, like I said. That's 9th out of 20. It's still not great, but it's better. Okay. Then we talk about hits. Again, his average was okay, so it was better. But again, still not something that you should be proud of. He ranked 18th out of 25. Not great. On-base percentage, again, it's not great. 12th out of 20. So he's bottom half. It's real simple. These guys didn't do anything in terms of added value to these teams. Okay. There are other holes in this lineup, of course. I'm just picking 2 guys. Aaron Hicks is another example of a guy that should not be a Yankee next year. And I don't even need to explain to you why. Because if you just watch him play, he puts absolutely no effort in the field. Okay? And there are more issues to this team. And I'm sure, JB, you're going to bring up, and I would agree with you completely, that Aaron Judge didn't show up in the playoffs. And there's no question to me that that is a concern as well. But it is real simple to me when you break this down. There are 2 men in charge. Brian Cashman, Aaron Boone. Those 2 gentlemen are in charge of putting out the lineup and filling the holes that we have on this squad, and they didn't do it. There is a lot that needs to be happening in this offseason. Do I think any of it's going to happen? No. I think what's going to happen is the Yankees are going to try and re-sign Aaron Judge. They'll probably re-sign Anthony Rizzo, and they'll figure out the rest from there. And maybe they'll do one or two things that we would suggest. Maybe they'll fix the shortstop problem. Maybe we get lucky and they go after a Xander Bogaerts or a Carlos Correa. If we're lucky. I don't think they will, but it's a nice thought that they would go after a player that will actually fix the position. But the Yankees need to do a lot, and I hope they're listening because there's a lot of issues with this team, and it's unacceptable to me, to every Yankee fan, that you think it's okay to lose in the playoffs this many years in a row the way we did. To the same team most of the time, by the way. You got to do something. I digress. Gentlemen, my 10-minute monologue is over. That is a lot of pent-up anger.
Wow. I hear Jake, and I just say back in April, May, June, July, all before the collapse, they're not winning the World Series. So I sit here and I say I was right. It sucks to be right because, I'm a fan of the team. I want to see them win. And then to show nothing against the disgusting, despicable, useless, cheating. Oh, let me stop. I almost don't want to look at Jay's hat right now. And I have a lot of respect for Jay.
Jay, you're lucky we like you.
And he was an Astro fan before they cheated. So he was probably an Astro fan for his whole life. So whatever. I'll give him. He's not like one of those fly-by-night Astro fans.
Fair enough.
But to lose to that team, that despicable team that doesn't belong to step foot in the most hollow ground in baseball, disgusting. And to have a manager that would throw a pitcher that's hurt in an
elimination game.
I have to remember that, I'm not talking to you on the side right now because there's some anger in
JB, I held back with what I had to say. I would have said much worse things if we were just talking.
This guy cash a paycheck, because I am convinced any member of Sideline Sports, any person on Twitter can manage the Yankees and get them to the playoffs.
Absolutely.
Oh, I was about to say, and before you continue, Joe Torre could have come back for the series and it would have went 6 games.
You're right. That's why he's got championships.
Joe Torre would have took it 6 games. Just saying.
That's why Joe Torre has multiple championships and Boone has none.
Listen, it really comes down to Boone. I'm lucky for him we lost the game in the Bronx, because if we were in Houston, don't even get on the plane. Home. Make your own arrangements to get home.
Correct.
I don't care about your home run. It's over. Live in the past. Right now, I want 28. All I care about is 28. 62 means nothing. Aaron Judge, you know what? See ya. Go sign wherever you want to sign. You don't want to take the money? Bye-bye. We'll replace you. You're a nobody. You handled it well.
Wow.
What did you do in the playoffs? You were burnt out because you were so worried about.
I can't argue with that point. The playoffs, he wasn't there.
Burnt out. How many of his 62 home runs came against playoff quality pitching?
He did.
That's what I want to know. Listen, 62 home runs means nothing. The AL record, ooh, good. Until somebody goes and breaks it in 2-3 years. So I don't want to hear about that. Why we have a pitcher that's hurt pitching, why we don't manufacture runs when we're in a series with a team that can hit home runs and does.
But also can play small ball. That's the problem. They can do it always.
Right now is better than us, and we don't even win one game. One game.
We're going backwards.
One lousy game.
We're moving backwards as a team.
They jumped out to 3-0.
And we were up 3-0 in Game 4. Had all the momentum, and we threw out a guy who was hurt, and said, "Here." Then it all implodes.
And you know what, JB? Even if he wasn't hurt before the game, there was a clear moment that Boone went to the mound, checked on him. Why didn't you take him
and
out?
Let him stay in.
What were you
let him stay in.
It's so obvious that something is going on. I can tell you, my father and I are huge Yankee fans. You guys know that. Okay, he and I talk about every game. And I'm telling you, he called me and said to me, he goes, "Is something wrong with Cortez? Because he doesn't look right." And I said, "I don't know, but it looks like something's wrong." Boone's coming out.
So your dad, who's watching, I'm sure, on a flat screen TV in another state, probably in a 7-second tape delay because, broadcast TV's on a little delay.
Absolutely.
He caught that there was a problem.
Of course he did.
The closest person in the building that's responsible for putting the pitcher out there noticed nothing.
And you know what? It's not that he noticed nothing. It's the fact that he noticed nothing, went to the mound because he thought he saw something, and then did nothing about it.
And he let
That
him
is
stay.
absolutely infuriating. And again,
He
an
let him
example of why he
stay.
cannot be manager. Because it is so simple. You don't listen to your guy if they tell you, oh, I'm fine. If you think something's wrong, an elimination game, and at that point, I don't remember what the score was, but I know for a fact that was before things completely imploded on us.
3-0.
Y'all did have one more lead.
So if that was at 3-0, why would you risk putting your not only your arguably your number 2 or 3 guy in danger of being further injured, but more importantly, put your season on the line for a guy who might be hurt? I can't wrap my head around it.
It comes down to, from the beginning, as soon as that happened, I went on Twitter and I'm like, there's 2 things. A, I wouldn't do it in the regular season on a game that doesn't really matter because you know what, you got to get hurt more. But now, besides the fact that we're worried about the guy getting hurt more, now it's an elimination game. You want to do it in game 1 or 2 in the playoffs because you don't want to be behind. You're going to do it in an elimination game. You have no bullpen. All that money we spend, you're afraid to bring somebody out there and make the fans sit 20 minutes while a guy warms up? I don't think any of the fans would have been upset.
Yeah.
Listen,
if it meant winning that game,
there's a guy that used to play first base for the New York Yankees that just left his job. You know what? He can't be as bad as what we have right now. There's a guy who used to catch and manage the Yankees. Not as bad as what we have right now.
Oh, those pretty good, I think.
There's a guy who played second base for the Yankees and managed over in Queens. Would it be as bad as what we have right now? You got 3 names right there, and those are in-house candidates.
I'll
go outside the area.
I'll throw you another one, JB. One of our guys in our broadcast booth, David Cohn. I would love having him as a manager. You know why? Can't be worse than Boone. You can't possibly get worse than Boone. At this point, you can't.
This team, they're not built for the playoffs. They don't hit against good pitching. No. They don't play small ball. You can't mash your way through the playoffs because you're facing good pitching. You got to have timely hitting. Rizzo does that. Rizzo gets key hits.
Agreed. That's why I love him.
Who else on our team do we trust to do that? There's not many. I don't.
Who hit the 3-run homer in Game 4? Who hit the 3-run homer to go up 3-0?
Rizzo got a single. I think drove in 2. I think maybe.
Wait, my bad. No,
you're thinking of
3-run homer.
You're thinking of Game 5 against the Guardians.
Yes, Game 5.
That was Giancarlo Stanton.
Oh, Stanton.
That was Stanton.
And again, the only guy maybe I'd say, all right, he had some timely hitting, but even then, I'm not loving him. But the other thing that we haven't even mentioned yet, we have Oswaldo Cabrera and Oswald Peraza, 2 young stars, that stars in the making. Why aren't we starting them? Why are we fielding IKF and Josh Donaldson? Because we paid them money? I don't get it. And I think the other thing that I need to point out about IKF, he's a Gold Glove winner. But you know where he won those Gold Gloves, guys? Not at shortstop. He was a Gold Glove third baseman. So why would you possibly think, oh, well, he'll just be fine at shortstop? He's a Gold Glove third baseman. If you really want him to play and you really think he's that worth it, put him at third and put Cabrera at short. That's what makes sense. That I would accept. Because if you think he's going to be good at third, I can tell you Cabrera is going to be good at short.
So are you more upset that we lost, or are you more upset the fact that we lost and it's been 2 days and this creature still has a job?
Oh, it's definitely the latter.
Listen, I can deal with Cashman. Not that Cashman has done a great job, but at least he gets us a playoff quality team. This team could win games in the playoffs depending on how you manage.
But there's still holes that need to be addressed. And
there are, but this team could have won everything had they been managed properly.
Cashman probably overstayed his welcome. You could probably poll all 8 million New York City residents, and I'd be willing to bet cold, hard cash money that over half of them said he overstayed his welcome.
I'm not going to argue with it. Look, I appreciate what they've done for us, but when you're not addressing the issues,
if you would have been around 25 years ago, 30 years ago, there was this guy. You might have heard stories about him. Watch Seinfeld. You see his character.
Of course.
His name is George. That's all I need to say is George. And you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Costanza.
The boss.
Boone would have been running for the hills.
Absolutely.
There was a manager, for our younger people, Jake, named Billy Martin.
I know who he is. Thank you very much.
Who got fired multiple times. And he was a really great manager.
That's fun.
Yogi Berra, who was a good manager, got fired multiple times. Because the boss, he didn't take this garbage.
I agree.
This is garbage.
I'm on your side. I mean, look, Michael Kay said it today on radio, and I was listening to him. He said it himself, and it's sad to say, but it's true. If George was alive today, somebody would be dead right now. Somebody would have been murdered because George would have absolutely lost his mind at the fact that this team lost again. That's the kind of leadership we need. We don't have that, and that's why I'm so frustrated because Cashman seems so complacent.
Look, I look at it this way, right? George has our attitude. When we started, if we would have told, your best friend you were going to be covering the Super Bowl back-to-back years, you have the opportunity to go travel there if you could, your best friend would have said, Jake, you're crazy.
That's true.
Jay, what are you talking about? You're not going to do that. You're crazy. You're coming from the outside. No way. And what do we say? We'll do what we got to do. We got this. George would have been like, no, we ain't losing. This ain't happening. This is unacceptable.
I agree.
He has our attitude. Unfortunately, he's passed away. His son, Hal, golden
doesn't
spoon
have that.
He's got the golden spoon. Mediocre's okay.
Playoffs are enough.
I'm getting my money from people buying playoff tickets. Who cares about 28? 28's just a number. That's the age of my next wife. 28 means nothing. It's really disgusting when the best team in the city plays in Queens. And I don't care that they lost in the first round. It doesn't make a difference. They're still the better team right now. They were built better to win. They just did it, which is a whole other story. But when it's all said and done.
You really think the Mets are a better team than the Yankees?
I disagree with that, but that's not the point of this discussion.
Better
that's
pitching.
Not, but it doesn't matter. That's
more timely hitting.
Again,
do I like saying that?
Again, a discussion that we can have another time for sure.
It makes me sick to say such a thing.
But again,
it's disgusting.
The real issue at hand is, and you kind of said it, JB, Hal is totally acceptable with playoffs are good. I'll get my money, and that's it. That's why I'm saying we need somebody else at GM because while I've liked Brian Cashman, he's not doing it anymore. He's not going out and trying to build the perfect roster by fixing the holes that are there. Shortstop was a very clear issue that was not addressed. It was never addressed. We kind of patched a hole with IKF, and when that became a problem, no fix, no solution, no nothing. And that's my concern. That's why. But at the very least, we all agree, Boone, get him out the door because this is disgusting. It's unacceptable. It doesn't make sense.
We are in the playoffs like we're the Minnesota Twins. That's what we look like.
Yeah.
We are the Minnesota Twins.
We are.
Hey, we made the playoffs.
Hey, good for us.
Let's have a little fun. We're playing some extra games.
But Jake brought up a great point because it's all when you talk about like, we'll get to the playoffs. I'm getting playoff money, and I'm good with it. Everything that you said. You know who that reminds me of? Jerry Jones. Because here you have an historical franchise that's got championships behind them, just like the Yankees. And seemingly his mind frame is, I'm good. I'm getting my money just getting to the playoffs and the whole business aspect. Both men, they're living off of the name. They're living off of Jerry's living off the star logo, and Homeboy's living off the NY. He's living off the brand.
Jay, let me ask you.
But Jerry,
how many people make fun of the Cowboys for their mediocrity day in, day out, year after year?
A ton.
Everybody, right? Everybody. And that's where the Yankees are headed. If this is how this, if they don't change things, they're going to be the Cowboys of baseball in that regard.
Stop that for 1 second, though. It's not that Jerry doesn't want to win. Jerry doesn't know how to win. Jerry is George Steinbrenner of the '80s. If you remember, the Yankees had
it's the only decade we didn't win a World Series. It's the only decade besides the last one.
2010.
They had superstar teams. Biggest payrolls, won the most games in the decade. No World Series. Why? Because George didn't know how to win. He didn't know how to build the team. He was the de facto GM, and he didn't know how to build the team. Jerry Jones, same thing. Not that he doesn't want to win. He would give his left arm to win. They came to Jerry and said, give us your left arm and you win the next 3 Super Bowls, he'd say take the right one too.
You're right.
But he just doesn't know how to do it. He hires the wrong people. He brings in the wrong free agents. He's just not good.
But you know what? Jerry Jones, much like the guy we're talking about, also making a comparison to, you said it, they are a product of the 80s. Guys like, him, dude from the Yankees, Vince McMahon, they're products of the 1980s. Whenever there's a problem, you throw money at it. Back in the 80s, it worked. But at some point in time, you got to evolve. You know what I mean? Jerry Jones is a billionaire who's egotistical. They're all egotistical. And the very man that you're complaining about and ranting about, I'm willing to bet you he's the same way. You can't talk to him. Why does Robert Kraft win? Robert Kraft wins because he put general managing in Belichick's hands. Next thing you know, 6 Super Bowls. He puts it in everybody else's hands. He oversees the team. Jerry has hands in too much.
Robert Kraft liked going to massage parlors better than being a GM for football. Jerry Jones enjoys football more. There's a huge difference.
That must be it.
But Kraft won more than him, though.
Hey, Kraft also had Tom Brady.
Kraft won more than him.
The moral of the story is go to the massage parlors, you'll be a winner.
Oh, good. Perfect. That's a good message, JB. Thank you. Thank you. All right. We're gonna move off of this topic. I wanted to bring up this real quick because I saw this. What was this, yesterday? Let me see. This was this morning. So it was about 10 o'clock this morning. I saw this tweet come in. JB, you're a betting man, so maybe you saw this already. I don't, and so I wouldn't have seen this. But the line for the Seahawks-Giants game. Do either of you happen to know what the line is at the moment?
For the Seahawks-Giants game?
I'm guessing the Seattle's favored by 2.5 to 3.5.
Okay, Jay, what do you think? Just curious if you got a guess.
If I had to guess, actually, I'm going to go Giants, 1 point.
Okay. It's the Seahawks at -3, so the Seahawks are favored by 3.
Yeah. They're saying it's basically an even game.
Yeah.
So for people that don't gamble, 3 points automatically goes to the home team for home field advantage. So they're basically calling this an even matchup.
Yeah.
And the Seahawks are getting 3 points for being at home.
Yep.
Am I upset about it? No. Do I think we're a better team than the Seahawks? No. Do I think we have a better coach? No. I think Pete Carroll's been a great coach.
Wow.
He just made some bad decisions, but I think our coach in the long run is going to be better.
I think we're a better team already.
I think your defense may be better.
I mean, offensively, I don't know that I wouldn't say that we're better, but defensively, we're a heck of a lot better. We are by far.
DK
and offensively, the Giants are timely. They're not great, but when they got to play and when they got to step up, they do, and I give them the credit for that.
Well, we're dependent on Barkley staying healthy, which hasn't happened. So
you know what, Jones has looked okay. He's not been the reason we win, but I got to give him his credit. He's actually been a lot better.
He's managing the offense.
Yeah, and I'm very happy about that.
Out of the equation, I don't know if we're this good. We gotta
Jones
because he hasn't stayed healthy.
Jones has been making the plays when he needs to. This is why don't expect too many 21-point wins from the Giants this season. There probably will be more games where it's going to come down to the fourth quarter. The lucky thing for you guys is the Giants have seemingly come through. Sans the Cowboys game, I still have the Eagles winning that division, but you know what? We talked about this. The Giants could conceivably win 11 games. As of now, I've got them at 9 or 10. No, I said 10. On the Sports Arena last night, I said 10. Book it. Giants will win 10 games.
But
they got a favorable schedule. Look at their slate for the rest of the season.
They do.
And I think I'd be thrilled with that.
Yeah.
10 wins. I'd walk away very happy, but at the same time, just win the games you're supposed to win. Playing the Jaguars, you got to beat them. I need to win that game, and they did. But I need to do the same thing next week against Seattle. I don't care that Seattle's 4-3. To me, that means nothing. Got to go to Seattle. You got to win this game because you should be a better team than the Seahawks.
The reason I brought this up is because I think if you're a betting man, I bet the Giants money line all day. I would take the points
I
on
go
them
Giants.
every single day.
I
go
Because
Giants.
what?
I would have trusted this game. Seattle's a very strange team.
I'm taking the look. I think
You know
the
what?
fact-
After seeing y'all beat Baltimore and then
and Packers, man.
and the Packers, they can say the same thing for y'all because you're winning games you're not supposed to.
Yeah, and that's my point. The Giants are going to fight harder than almost any other team right now, based on what we've seen. I think it's kind of ridiculous to me that they think the Seahawks are favored, but that's not my problem. Giants will likely go out, do what they do, and hopefully win this game. Seattle's run game is going to be our biggest issue that we have to stop, and I know that. But their run defense is not great. They're getting ran all over. That opens up the floodgates for Saquon Barkley to do his thing.
It does. How you guys mentioned just now how Daniel Jones been doing what he needed to do. Gio's been doing the same thing, and hardly anyone's
No
talking
doubt.
about
Oh, he's been killing
But
it.
the difference,
As a matter of fact, one could argue Gio's the better quarterback right
oh,
now.
absolutely. But the difference is Geno's got the harder matchup defensively
Yes.
by a lot.
Now,
Daniel
I don't know
Jones-
what's going on. Is DK coming back this weekend or what? Because he left.
I don't know. I don't even know if he practiced today. I'll look for you real quick, but they don't know when he's going to be. They don't know the severity of the injury, basically.
Oh, they don't know yet.
I mean, when I say that is they haven't said like, oh, he's going to be out or he's not. I don't think that kind of analysis is coming in. I think there's a chance he plays this weekend, is from what I know, but I don't know what he's going to look like if he does. I don't. Let's see if I can find out some information. But yeah, I off the top of my head, I do not.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm also not mad. I'm not terribly mad at the Seahawks being favored. You also got K9 has been running lights out as of late too.
Hey, I know.
For the Hawks. So
That's it. I don't want to hear it. I understand. But you know what? This is a game I look at before the year started with who's on these teams. We win. We don't win this game, I'll be disappointed. I don't care if the Seahawks were 10-point favorites. Vegas don't play the games. The Giants got to keep doing what they're doing and just play the way they've been playing. The point spread means nothing.
Right. But whenever you say it, because you said it was Seahawks -3, so it's basically an even game. So I mean, I see that. I see how they could be even.
No.
You got the same quarterback on both ends on both teams. You got the same quarterback just about.
No.
I think Geno's better.
I don't say it's even. We have a much better running back. We have the best player on the field.
Much better running back, yeah.
Our defense is 10 times better than their defense.
But their receiving core is better.
So
that's fun. So real quick on DK Metcalf, here is what Pete Carroll said. So this was as of today, this afternoon. It was a knee injury. He doesn't need surgery, which is good. The X-rays coming back negative, which is always a positive sign. Right. He hurt one of his tendons in his knee. They don't know how much time he's going to miss, if any, is basically what they've said. They don't know. They're hoping maybe he'll practice Wednesday even, apparently, but only time's going to tell. They don't know. They don't know what's going to happen yet. They know what the injury is, but they just don't know how his body's going to react, and if he'll be out or not. That is remaining to be seen.
Okay.
So there you go. That's my injury update.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I think the Giants are going to go there and win.
I agree.
I liked them to win a little bit easier than what we've had it the last couple of weeks. I don't like having to come down to the last drive and make it a stop. This Sunday in particular, we were about a half a yard away from.
Oh, that was painful.
Losing the game. But it is what it is. They just got to keep doing what they're doing. They look good. It all starts with coaching. This defense was a top 10 defense 2 years ago. It's definitely returned to where it was. The offense was never very good.
But it's better this season.
It's playing competent football this year, and I think they're just going to keep doing what they're doing. Seahawks, a lot of credit to what they did. They went to L.A. and destroyed the Chargers. They took it to them.
That was impressive.
It was an impressive victory. But then again, so did Jacksonville. And look what we did to them.
Mm-hmm.
So,
that's true.
Yeah.
The Chargers are an up and down team. I don't think Herbert's right from that injury he had earlier in the year.
Yeah.
I don't think I think they're not saying as serious as serious as it is, but I don't know. We'll see. It's going to be an interesting game.
Is it okay? It's at New York, right?
No, Seattle.
No, it's in
Oh, at
Seattle,
Okay. That's right. Okay,
which is why Seattle gets the points.
Yeah.
gotcha.
So it makes
Okay,
sense.
then. Okay. You guys got a 3 or the 4:25 game this Sunday. So yeah, Giants
Like
playing
I
on the
said,
West Coast.
we'll see. But my point was,
whose demise has been better to watch this year, Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers?
man,
The popular answer is Tom Brady. That's the popular answer.
Because they both have. I'll say it this way: Rodgers really hasn't said anything stupid. Brady is just making mistakes he never made because he was always very good with the media. Never made any statements that were out there that put him on blast.
You're right.
He made that comment about being in the military is like playing football or whatever, however he said it. Which was the stupidest thing I've ever heard. But that's not a Tom Brady thing. I don't know. This year he's lost his shine. He's become just a regular number 12. Maybe they gave him like number 13. He's wearing underneath the 12, and he's just not having any luck or something. But Rodgers, I think it's definitely a talent issue. With the offense there. But then again, he's never really had much talent on that offense.
No, he hasn't. And before you continue, also keep in mind Tom Brady has a clear off the field distraction. Now, some would say that's an excuse, but what's Aaron Rodgers is? He doesn't have any off field distractions. He just hasn't looked like himself.
I beg to differ. I think if you're single, you have many more distractions.
I also think if you're
in the club 5 days a week, sure.
I think Aaron Rodgers is just always distracted with about 100 different things between having a little fun on the side like that. I won't say it, but we all know what he does between Pat McAfee, and I'm just saying he's got a couple other things. But also to answer your question, JB, for me, it's been Tom Brady because for me, Aaron Rodgers, every year at some point there's a collapse, and what I mean by that is if it's in the playoffs, the regular season, and usually it's the playoffs. We've talked about this. Aaron Rodgers finds a way to lose, right? He's notorious for not winning Super Bowls. So for me, seeing Aaron Rodgers, in some way collapse, whether it was a playoff loss or in this case, regular season woes, this is almost to be expected, right? I see it coming, and especially losing Devontae Adams with this, I don't even know what to call this wide receiver core that he has. This is not a surprise to me. Tom Brady, on the other hand, now, yes, he's had some injuries to deal with for his wide receivers, and that's fine. But Tom Brady, every year, no matter who's playing, has found ways to win. It's so refreshing to watch him lose. And he's losing in more than one way. You guys mentioned he's got off-field distractions. You know what? I'm not saying I want him to get divorced. That's not what I'm going to say. But I'm certainly not complaining watching Tom Brady lose, not only in that realm of his life, but also on the field. It's I think as a fan of football, and most fans would agree, and I'm sure you two are included in that, we've all been waiting for this Tom Brady demise. We've all been waiting for him to fall off and stop winning all the time. It finally is happening, I think. This could finally be.
So I'll tell you why I disagree.
I don't know, but I'm just saying it could be.
No, I'm just going to tell you why I disagree with who I enjoy watching.
Okay. That's fine.
To me, Brady has always won. He was always a winner. He never really made any mistakes verbally on the field. He just went out there and did his thing. And we, as a Giant fan, we always beat him in the big game. So it was like, whatever, who cares? He's a non-issue to me.
Mm-hmm.
Where Rodgers is in the same conference as us,
Brady is now.
So is Brady
now,
but I get your point. You're saying in the history of Brady and
we've
Rodgers,
always taken care of him when it mattered,
mm-hmm.
And Rodgers is just always so cocky for a guy who has won Super Bowl. I mean, he hasn't even matched him and Flacco are equal.
In that way, yes.
Yeah.
Him and what's that other dude's name? There's so many. I mean, so
You could say him and Joe Namath are the same in regards to rings. In regards to rings, they have the same amount.
At least Joe had some schnaz. I mean,
Yeah.
what does Aaron Rodgers have?
I don't know. He's got
Danica Patrick at one point.
I was gonna say he did have Danica Patrick, not anymore.
Yeah, at one point he did.
I don't know. I mean, how long till he's doing ED commercials because he needs money, the way he acts.
I think he's got too much pride for that.
Yeah, definitely. If he's anti-vax, he's definitely gonna be anti-pill. But yeah, I mean, Tom Brady, like y'all, this ain't just a nobody. Like he about to lose a world-renowned supermodel wife. So the media's coming at him like way more than we can imagine. Aaron Rodgers is coming off of his second straight most valuable player and fourth overall.
And one Super Bowl. So get out of here with that garbage.
No, I'm making a case for why the fall off is worse for Rodgers. He's the reigning MVP.
He's garbage. When it matters, he's the Yankees in the playoffs against the Astros.
That hurt. I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong about it, but man, that hurt.
Jake, get him.
It's not wrong. It just hurt.
At least Brady's got some pride. I mean, yeah, this year's been bad, but you know what?
He's got rings that fill his hands to make up for it.
Exactly. Yeah. So, but watching Rodgers, who's done, in my opinion, nothing. Phil Simms won as many Super Bowls as him. Jeff Hostetler.
I was going to say, technically Phil Simms has 2 rings, but
I'm not talking rings. I'm talking about winning the Super Bowl as a quarterback.
Went out and physically won it. I got what you're saying. I got you.
So
that's fair.
And here's the guy that's multiple-time MVP, has everything stacked in his favor, plays in Green Bay, has had home playoff games that he can't win. You know what? Stop and shut your mouth.
I got 2 things for you, JB. Number 1, you know who's got as many rings as him in the NFC?
Oh,
Tom Brady. Tom Brady's played a lot less years in the NFC, but he's got as many rings as an NFC quarterback. Matthew Stafford.
The man I abused all last year.
Absolutely.
By having 17 tries from the 3-yard line. They're still playing on the 3-yard line. The Rams still have the ball. The Bengals may stop them. And, maybe a new Super Bowl winner.
JB, I got one better for you, though. You know who's got more rings than Aaron Rodgers?
Oh.
Eli Manning.
Yes.
Yep.
You know how many MVPs he has? None. But you know how many rings he's got? 2. You know how many rings he's got over the best quarterback, or at least what is argued to be the best quarterback in the entire game of football ever?
2.
You know how many times Aaron Rodgers has done anything remotely that exciting in terms of his playoff career? Maybe once, when you want to say he won 1 Super Bowl. That's it.
Breeze is the same in number of rings, too.
So while I think Brady's still a more enjoyable fall off and it's a bigger fall off for me, I'm not going to disagree with anything you said because you're right. Aaron Rodgers doesn't do anything in the playoffs. And that's why, for me, it's a little less exciting because I saw it coming. I just didn't know what would happen now. I figured it would happen in a couple months. But
listen, I will say, as a guy who's not a Tom Brady fan, it is enjoyable to see him ruin and tarnish his image.
It's great.
But as someone who loathes Aaron Rodgers, this is like a dream.
I was going to say, you hate Aaron Rodgers.
Eventually, he's going to come back around.
Yeah. All I'm going to say is I truly feel bad for the fans of Green Bay because they basically were from Favre to Rodgers. After that, they don't know. They're going to have to rebuild for a while because they have nothing.
Yeah,
it's
it's funny you say that. There's nothing there. It's not like, oh, we got star receivers. We just need a capable quarterback. No, you don't. You got nothing.
And they have a couple of good running backs that they just don't get.
They don't use them.
Dillon is nice. Jones he was phenomenal.
Awesome. Yeah.
You
would think they would become a run-heavy team, but it's almost as if it's like, nah, we have to go out there and prove it with Rodgers because we're paying him this money or he's our MVP or what. And it's like at some point in time, dude, like you got 2 studs. Rodgers is what, 37, 38 years old? Now, granted, I get it. He's Aaron Rodgers. You know what I mean? But at some point in time, use those running backs, man. Like they should be running the lights out, and you still having 12 throw as much as he does. Like why?
So that's going to bring me to my next question.
Oh, I think I know where you're going with this.
So what's the best state for football right now? You got California.
Is that where I was going with that coin?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they got a couple of teams out there.
All right.
I'm going to throw Chicago, Minnesota, and Green Bay together.
Okay.
All right. So you got New York, Florida. Texas has a couple of teams. What's the best state right now for football?
Right now,
I'll let Jay take this first.
I want to hear Jay's answer.
Yeah.
Right now, we're talking NFL or college ball.
NFL.
NFL. Well, let's see. Do you want to look Vegas in there too, or no?
You can throw Vegas with LA.
Okay. All right.
So Vegas hasn't looked very good. So
by themselves.
Rams.
I wouldn't want to put
Chargers, San Fran.
JB, I think
it ain't California. It ain't California. You know what? I'm gonna have to say the Midwest. Well, no. I'll say New York. It's got to be New York. You got
absolutely.
You got a 5-2 team and a 6-1 squad. Meanwhile, up north,
you got a 5-2, 6-1, and you have also the Bills.
And the Bills, exactly.
You can't forget the Bills. The Bills are just as good.
Wait a second. Time out. I thought cats from New York City didn't consider Buffalo New York. Now you do?
I don't know who says that. I do. They're New York. As far as I'm concerned, there's 3 New York teams.
I've always said that.
And the Bills are the only real New York team.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll joke around and say that, the New York has 1 team, New Jersey has 2. But that's neither here nor there. But you look at the up north, right? And you got Green Bay, you got Minnesota. Minnesota's the only one that's really winning, you know what I mean? Florida, between the Jags, we know what they are. Tampa, surprisingly, like on a downslide, but hopefully they can pick it up. And then Miami, we still don't know who they are yet. No, far and away it's New York, man. Far and away it's New York.
Okay, I want to make a point. I want to make a point on this real quick. So we looped in the Raiders with LA and all those teams, right? The Raiders have 4 losses on the season. The Giants, the Bills, and the Jets have a combined 4 losses on the season. That is why it's New York, because that's just one. That's just one category. And now I understand some teams are going to be there's going to be areas with 4 or 5 teams as opposed to just 3. But it's real simple. We have the least losses by such a wide margin, probably because all 3 teams are not just playing okay. We don't have a team with less than 5 wins.
Yeah, I mean,
if you want unbelievable football.
If you want to lump one more team to kind of help them out as far as Midwest to compete with New York, you could throw Kansas City since they're in the Midwest.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, you definitely can, but the Bills.
You can. But even still, we got 4 losses. We have a combined record of 16-4. We are absolutely, in my opinion, I'm sure JB agrees, by far the best at the moment with our combined teams. They all look great. As far as I'm concerned, all 3 could go to the playoffs right now.
Yeah.
And I'm not just saying if the season ended today. I'm saying all 3 have a legitimate chance at the playoffs this year.
Yes, without a doubt.
They would, and probably the most surprising out of the 3 is the Jets because, no one saw the Giants coming either. But
don't give the Giants too much credit. Nobody saw this coming.
No one saw it coming, but even going by recent history, the Giants last made the playoffs in 2016. They won 11 games with Ben McAdoo. I'm sure y'all still wondering how that happened, but the Jets haven't made the playoffs since when? Early 2010s?
Yeah, so it was probably last time was with Mark Sanchez.
Yeah. So and the Bills been doing Bills things, but no one saw the Giants and the Jets coming.
Yeah.
I think we should all stop and say butt fumble right now.
Okay. On the count of 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Butt fumble.
Butt fumble!
Fine by me. And you know what? John's not here, but there's another one we got to shout out because now there's the butt fumble, but there's also the butt punt. Don't forget that.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Look, if we're going to make fun of one butt play, we got to make fun of them all. And there's 2.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And John's not here to rebuttal, which is great. I love it. He can't say a word.
He can't. He probably will tell you we still won that game, but the plays are play. The plays are play. Yeah.
In 20 years, people aren't going to remember who won that game. People are going to remember that play happened, and we're going to make fun of it. Just like we make fun of Mark Sanchez for the butt fumble.
Oh, that's true. Just like everybody remembers when Al crossed Jordan, nobody remembers that the Bulls still won the game.
No, nobody cares.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we live in a society. Well, then again, it's always been like
And
this.
it's the same.
You know, they remember moments.
Yeah. When AI stepped over Derek Fisher, I couldn't tell you who won that game, but I remember that moment when he stepped over him. Everyone remembers that. Of course you do.
Mm-hmm.
That's what people care about. You're right.
Yeah. The step over Tyronn. Yeah. Even though the Lakers won the series, but the moment was that step over. Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It means nothing. Because at the end of the day, all you remember is that you got that mental image of the stepping over. That's all you think about, right?
It is. It is absolutely. But you know what? I'm glad y'all got Brian Daboll, and I just had a feeling that he was going to be it because Shermer was not it. I'm still confused about McAdoo though, because
McAdoo was terrible.
I think they may have gotten rid of him a bit too soon. It's good for y'all that they did, but he was only 2 seasons there. He won 11 games.
Ray, let me tell you something. I watched him play. He was awful. He was awful,
bad, bro. Bad.
Look, he had one good season. Congratulations. He was terrible. He was an atrocity.
But it's all said and done. I'm very, very happy to be a Giant fan. Great year. I'm actually proud of the Jets. I like Robert Saleh. I'm glad to see what they're doing. Glad to see he turned it around. It's good to see some fresh, good football. Nice to wake up Monday mornings and see that, it's not Giants and Jets both lost.
Yeah. Hey.
Many Monday mornings of that.
Many New York media, y'all have gotten numb to them criticizing like Giants and Jets football. Like I'm sure, because know how they rock, and they have no mercy for nobody.
I take blame. I'm part of the Giants. The Giants hate. I've been there before. I'll take the blame for it, but right now I got nothing. I got nothing but high praise and lots of pride. They have proven me very, very wrong, and I will do a quick shameless plug before we try to wrap this up here. I know James got one last comment, and then we'll wrap up. I said it was after week 1. It was on Alex Fleming's NFL Carousel. I said Giants were 1-0. I said Giants are making the playoffs this year. I said after 1-0, I stand by it. The New York Football Giants will make the playoffs this year. I'm going to continue to say it because they have proved me right. After going 1-0, which is all it took for me to have confidence in them because I watched how they play. They're at 1-0. They're making the playoffs, and I cannot wait. It is going to be a great year for really just not only just Giants football, but New York football in general.
Yeah. It's got to be something about when both, because it's been so long since both the Giants and the Jets were both good. Since the Giants and the Jets are both, made the playoffs.
And it feels nice.
I remember it was maybe 2 or 3 years, and it was a really nice thing to see.
It's nice. So, all right.
Jim.
Jay, start us up, my man. Let's wrap this up. What do you got to tell the people?
Well, appreciate you fellas having me on the show. Shout out to my guys on the Gauntlet. You can catch us on Friday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's me, JJ, Dom, and James Tatum. Cup Confidential will be back. We'll do a one-off episode right after the World Series, so stay tuned for that one. We're going to be back full force in February, and we'll have a new start time. So, no more slumber parties. And also, Basket Bros on Sundays. Myself, Scott, Dom, Jacob Kressner, and also the Pundit with myself, Jen, Jacob, and Scott Morganroth. And yeah, I'm here.
Jay's a busy man, people. Let me tell you something. He works a lot of shows. Y'all not checking him out. I'm going to be real disappointed. And I will find you because you better be checking him out because my man Jay puts in a lot of work and he deserves the respect. JB, my man, another hard worker. What you got for the people?
So we got the good old Sideline Sports on Tuesdays, Confidential when we come back. I get to host that as, Mr. Confidentiality, does all sorts of crazy things. And we got the South Florida Sports Exchange, J&J Sports Express, both sides of the coin, the McDonald's drive-thru, Arby's, Chick-fil-A.
Arby's, we have guys, we have the meats. I mean, don't forget, we got the meats, guys.
Basically everywhere that some. Remember, don't listen to JB. Don't be a Jake.
All right. Jake. You know what? That was uncalled for. I would remember that. That's uncalled for.
Jake was, he came in this last time I was on the show. He was hyped up. He was pumped. I can't blame the brother for believing in his team. I can't blame him for rocking with his team.
I had to say what everybody was thinking. I had to get the message out. That's the way I do things. So on that note, you guys can find me on Twitter at Jake_Malik. And more importantly, as you see scrolling across the bottom of your screen, this time I actually have time to say it. We got Sideline Sports on Instagram and Twitter, which is Sideline Sport 1. We are on YouTube and Facebook, which is Sideline Sports. We are on DBTV, which you can check us out. Let's see. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, TikTok. We are, literally everywhere. When I say everywhere, I don't mean just social media-wise. We are physically everywhere. We do everything. We are everywhere.
Listen,
check us out.
In Houston right now. We were in New York. We're all over.
Hey, look, we are absolutely everywhere, covering everything. I'm going to leave everybody with one last note. Go back to the beginning of the show and listen to what I said about the Yankees. But more importantly, Jay, I'm sorry. Go Phillies, baby. Everybody have a good one, and we'll see you next time.
Let's go Phillies.